Hi, everyone. Continuing this Rush weekend. Well, yesterday it got off to a fun and entertaining start for me with subdivisions. Now today I have a song in front of me called The Spirit of Radio. The song's name was inspired by Brampton, Ontario-based radio station CFNY-FM's slogan. This makes me think of two other songs that I've heard. One is another Rush song, YYZ, which was inspired by the identifying code for Toronto's airport, I believe. And then the other one is Queen's Radio Gaga. Somehow I feel like, even though I haven't heard the song, maybe it has something in common with each of those two songs. The Spirit of Radio features the band experimenting with a reggae style in its closing section. That's interesting. The reggae finale also has lyrics inspired by the song The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. Okay, so we're bringing all kinds of different inspirations and ideas into this. Let's listen. Lots of drums. Just like a saying, wake up everybody. It is the beginning of the day, and I was just getting ready to say before the voice came in, it sounds like we are off to a very high energy, busy, active day here. There's a lot going on in this intro, just straight out of the starting gate, and it doesn't really let us settle at all. It's saying, come on, go, 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 keep going, keep going. Oh, that's fun.
Invisible airways crackle with life. Right intent on bristle with the energy. Emotional feedback on a timeless wavelength. Bearing a gift beyond price, almost free. All this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted.
So this is it's an ode to the radio. That's what it is. The spirit of radio. And the lyrics are really quite complimentary and grateful. Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive. Plays that song that's so elusive, and the magic music makes your morning mood. And it sounds like this morning, as I said, is a very high energy, intense, busy morning. It's yet another busy day. We've got to get up and going. Turn on the radio and somehow it sets the tone for the day. Off on your way, hit the open road. There is magic at your fingers. Magic at your fingers. Just turn the knob and it comes to life. For the spirit ever lingers, undemanding contact in your happy solitude. can turn it off, you can turn it on. It's not upset at you if you don't want to hear it. Just however you wish to adjust it. Invisible airwaves crackle with life, bright antenna bristle with the energy, emotional feedback on a timeless wavelength, bearing a gift beyond price, almost free. And here's where it got interesting to me. All this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted. I think that's something that is worth pausing to appreciate. Because I think many times we have this view, this perspective that modern life has less room to breathe. Modern life has less human connection. Modern life doesn't allow room for the whole person, for emotional connection, for emotional openness. And even in yesterday's song, Subdivisions, that was the message of the lyrics, although I thoroughly enjoyed the other message coming through the music. But the message was, modern life is something that constrains us and locks us, and we have to conform to, even if it's not something that we want or need, even if it's against what we want or need, even if it's counter to our human nature. It's one of the negative elements of modern life. Here, we are being reminded that in spite of the trade-offs, there are some incredibly wonderful things about modern life. And that many of those really wonderful things about modern life don't actually constrain us, don't actually lock us in. Bearing a gift beyond price, almost free, all this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted. Well, I haven't gone beyond that in the music, so I will hear where they go with this idea. But I like pausing at this moment and just appreciating this fact that, yes, radio and TV programming is pre-decided. We don't get to decide. But that doesn't mean that it's without emotion. That doesn't mean that it doesn't give us room to be open with our own feelings. And the message here is that this is one of these wonderful gifts of modern life. And in fact, this magic that we can just turn a knob or press a button or now touch a screen. And all of this beautiful sound comes flowing into our lives. And when we don't need it, we simply turn it off. That's it. That's the choice we have to make. Either we want it or we don't. If we don't want it and we want something else, we just go to a different channel, go to a different station, find what our needs are and find what we connect to, find what feeds us so that we can be a whole human being as we go about our modern daily lives, even when it's busy and hectic and incredibly fast-paced, like this music. And it's interesting that the music is so technical and mechanical. It highlights the message. Because it creates a contrast. Huh. Your honesty.
One likes to believe in the freedom of music, but glittering prices and endless compromises shatter the illusion of integrity. Yeah.
A sort of nod to the music industry there, saying, again, It's bringing in this idea that in this case, the modern music world can and often does destroy who we are. Not so coldly charted. In other words, it's not just saying, it's again, a bit of a play on words, not so coldly charted. Don't worry about where you fall on the charts. It's not just about your rankings on the charts. It's about your honesty. Now, here, it's speaking to us musicians, as artists, as creators. It's about your honesty. And it is still possible in this modern machinery world to still create something genuine and open-hearted and honest. It is very dependent on your personal integrity, because it is easy for the industry to just come in and take over. It is incredibly easy. One likes to believe in the freedom of music, but glittering prizes and endless compromises shatter the illusion of integrity. Yes. Nonetheless, it is still possible. And I think it's myself as a musician, and one who has not only been through a very rigorous system of training and progress on a professional path, as well as one who shepherds the next generation through the same processes. There are competitions, there are prizes, there are exams, there are tests to be taken, there are assessments and evaluations and applications and all of these things. And then as you get closer and closer to the top, you feel more and more the pressure of, the next step. How do I make the next step? And the kind of attention you start to get from various other parts of the industry who all have their own interests at heart. And you have to be very careful how you step and how you choose, so that your freedom is not compromised, so that you don't lose the soul of who you are. And so I like the fact that this, which started out just as a happy day, somebody turning on the radio, it now becomes, it now delves into the other side, the creator's side, the artist's side, the musician's side of things, or the producers, all of it, because everyone is there because they at one point saw something that attracted them. And as much as we like to hate on the music industry and say that it's all commercial and it's all rigged and it's all, just for the sake of money, I don't believe that. I don't believe that on an individual level. The system itself, perhaps, but I think within that system, on an individual level, you find all through it people who chose this path because they were passionate about music. And it's not just the ones who are performing and writing music. It's the producers and the recording engineers. It's everybody. And I think that everywhere in the massive beast that this industry is, you can find, and you will find, people who are there because they truly care and they truly want to create something meaningful and that has emotional impact and that has real open-hearted qualities to it. And so I appreciate that this song has kind of taken that little course and taken us to this point. Yes, your honesty. You have to be honest with yourself, with those around you. there's that little tick, 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 which is such an interesting, contrasting sound with everything else that they've got going on. And we're back to the fact that this is such a gift. Almost free. High energy. Oh, nice little shift there. Here comes that riff again.
For the words of the prophets were written on the studio wall. Concert hall.
Ooh, you even get to hear the applause of the audience.
Echoes with the sound of salesmen.
Ooh.
Of salesmen. Of salesmen.
Woo! Almost like a car taking off, shifting gears there. Salesman. Ah, that's interesting. So, when you hear that, of salesmen, okay, I begin to understand a different perspective on this now, because now it's talking about it changes the meaning of this almost free. Bearing a gift beyond price, almost free. But the emphasis there is on almost, because for the words of the prophets were written on the studio wall. Kind of a fun play on words there, prophets. Prophets as in prophesying, prophets as in the profit margin, right? For the words of the prophets were written on the studio wall, the concert hall, echoes with the sounds of salesmen, of salesmen, of salesmen. And that's where you hear it just screech and cry out at the pinnacle in kind of as a, well, let's go back and listen to it. It's like it's in utter horror and dismay at the fact that this incredible gift, music, can be reduced to selling and profits and such base things as counting money.
Concert hall. Echoes with the sounds of salesmen.
Of salesmen.
Of salesmen.
Of salesmen. Now listen here.
Of salesmen.
And the guitar carries that on. Now, listen what's happening here. It says, if this becomes a car taking off. In other words, these salesmen are driving their fancy cars, and they are the ones profiting from this whole industry. And this car taking off sound comes out of that protest, that cry of outrage at the peak of salesmen. Everything goes, and it comes from the riff, da 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 da. And as it goes on, then this riff we start to hear come back. At the same time, we still have this this accelerating engine sound in our ears, and the riff becomes something which represents or takes on that message. Listen. Now you can hear that this sounds a bit like an engine accelerating too. Shifting gears. It's a different message from yesterday's song. But it's interesting that this is also a song which carries multiple meanings, multiple messages. There is the message that music is such a gift, and this idea that we can turn on the radio and have it meet our needs wherever we are, whenever we need, and turn it off whenever we need it to be off. And it's an acknowledgement of all that goes into creating that availability for us and that beautiful gift for us in the modern world. But then it shifts to the darker side of things, and it acknowledges and even becomes a protest against the money-hungry, profit-making industry that is also a part of this modern music world that we have. It's the same entity, the same, as I said, the same beast, which gives us the gift of turning on the radio, of pushing a button and having beautiful music come pouring into our lives. It's the same industry, which also has this darker side. And so, again, the message is, it really needs people honest with integrity to pursue their calling, their passion, and develop their gift. And that is what keeps it alive. That is what keeps it meaningful. And the acknowledgement that nothing in this world is perfect. And there's corruption everywhere. There are greedy, profit-hungry individuals everywhere. I don't think that every salesman is evil. And I don't think that's the point. The point is they're using words and they're finding ways to express this message and to protest the greed and the commercialism that is also existent, and saying we don't have to have this, and we should resist this, and we should fight against it, because we should preserve this incredible gift. Therefore, it is not free. So, what a fun weekend with Rush this has been. That was my first time hearing the spirit of radio, and as you can tell, I enjoyed it, I appreciated it, and I'm looking forward to what comes next. I'll see you soon.